What's up, guys? Coming to you today with a full slate of college basketball action and our only two NBA games here on Wednesday, December 17th. I'll give you my favorite picks on the side and over-under on each game. I'll give you my favorite underdog pick of the day and my massive lock. So slam that like button and subscribe to the channel to make sure you keep seeing these videos every single day. And let us know what you're thinking in the comments. I personally read and answer every comment I get. Check the pinned comment throughout the day to see our favorite picks. And you should definitely check back a couple of times throughout the day to see if there are any changes with injury news coming out and starters being confirmed. Yesterday, guys, we did get burned there on the San Antonio Spurs. That was our main tough loss there of the day. Watching the end of the third quarter, the whole fourth quarter, that one pretty much gave me severe crippling tilt or depression, depending on how you want to look at it. The Knicks got every bounce and some pretty key calls went their way. The Spurs just could not hit a shot to save their lives. So that was pretty disappointing how that went. We did cash Jaylen Brown's under 29.5 points at minus 104. As predicted, he did struggle there with shot making against the length and athleticism of San Antonio. Ended up with 25 points on the night. We bricked out on Louisville, plus 1.5 there. The Cardinals came out flat. Maybe we need to be looking at fading this team on the road because they look like a completely different squad in this one, eventually losing by 21. So that was not a good look. We did, however, cash Dayton, minus 6.5, a total blowout win there for Dayton as they dominate early and late to get the 97-69 win over a Florida State team that's looking very bad. Montgomery dropping a 20-piece was nice for us, and so were his 4 steals. A very nice win in that one. We also cashed our dog of the day, a pick we liked a lot. It was Oral Roberts plus 5.5, and it's a very close game. Oral Roberts gets us the cover. They lose this game 63-62. Harper putting up 20 points for us is nice, but the Missouri State Bears do get the win down the stretch there on their home floor. So a 3-3 day, not what we were looking for, but after a 6-0 day there yesterday, we're not going to complain too much. And premium went absolutely insane today. A 6-0 NHL day, making a ton of units over there on the premium side. Our college basketball picks continue to look good. We were on a 4-0 run there on college basketball. We go 2-1 there today, cashing Oral Roberts for a full unit there, getting 5.5. Bowling Green minus 20 as 3/4 of a unit. Unfortunately, we do brick out Louisville. That was an annoying one. But overall, a very good day there on the premium side. We'll break all that down here in a little bit, but right now, we got to go ahead and dive in. And first up, we're going to be looking at the Northern Iowa Panthers as they go on the road to take on the UIC Flames in a Missouri Valley Conference showdown. Northern Iowa comes into this game looking all right this season. They're 8-2 overall. They're coming off a nice 12-point win there over Oakland. Their losses this season, I'm losing to Wichita State, losing to Tulsa, don't look terrible. They haven't played a ton of step-up competition this year. Really no major step-up competition at all. So we'll see what they can do in this one. We'll see what they get after too in the Missouri Valley this year. This is going to be their first conference game in that win over Oakland. We liked a lot of what we saw. Obviously they come away with a nice win, albeit on their home court. They shoot 33% from 3. Nothing wrong with that. I do expect them to be a relatively decent 3-point shooting team this season. Also, that's kind of the MO of this team in general. The rebounding numbers looked fine. They stayed even there with Oakland, so not super impressive, but good enough to get the job done. So not overall terrible from Northern Iowa, given what we're seeing so far this year. Their defensive numbers over the course of the season are very, very good. Their rebounding numbers, though, are a little bit suspect. So we'll see what they can do here on the road in a conference game against the UIC Flames. Now, the Flames, they come into this game losers of 4 in a row. They lost to Belmont in a very close 87-84 game. That one could have went either way, but in the end, the Flames take their, they're 0-1 in conference play now, and Belmont's 1-0. They've played not really a lot of step-up games either, if we're being honest. They played Oregon State, lost that game in a close one. Other than that, not a lot of big tests. And this team, I'm not thrilled with what I'm seeing. They're not terrible offensively, but defensively, they looked pretty bad. The rebounding numbers are a bit of a concern in that game against Belmont, albeit a very, very close one. Don't get me wrong. They got out-rebounded by a little bit. They did shoot the ball extremely well from 3, though. They shot 13 of 32. That's 41% from long range. If that's the kind of thing they can keep up, maybe better times are ahead here for UIC throughout their Missouri Valley Conference schedule. Now, looking at the numbers, the Flames, they're getting 4.5 points here at home. We've got a total of 134.5. Northern Iowa, they are 5-4 against the spread. They're 7-2 to the under. UIC, they are 3-5-1 against the spread. They are 6-3 to the over. This is a little bit of a tough spot here. We've got, an underdog at home in a conference game. That's going to make me lean a bit here towards UIC. This is probably not a pinned comment kind of play, but I do think the Flames find a way to keep this to a 1-possession game down the stretch. In terms of a total, I would maybe lean just a hair towards over in this game. We've seen some high-scoring ones out there, but I'm not in love with that play either because of, Northern Northern Iowa's defense is pretty stingy. Next up, we've got one of the bigger games on the slate. We're looking at the Creighton Blue Jays as they go on the road here to take on the Xavier Musketeers. Creighton, they've had a bit of a rough season. Started off in the top 25 and things have not gone in the right direction since. They got obliterated by then number 19 Gonzaga. They lost to Baylor. They lost to number 15 Iowa State. They beat Oregon. They beat Nichols. Congratulations. But they lost by 21 against Nebraska. And the last time was an 83-76 loss there against Kansas State. That's not good. Things are not headed in the right direction. That was also a home loss for Creighton, a team that has been historically amazing playing in front of their home fans. So we'll see if they've got any sort of bounce back in them, see if they've got a fight in them this season, but it hasn't looked awesome. They did shoot 12 of 32 from 3 in that loss, which is honestly more concerning than anything. We didn't hit what we saw from Josh Dix. We didn't love what we saw from the bench, so the bench was really, really bad. The rebounding was also a concern. They got kind of smashed on the boards there by Kansas State. So they've got a lot of issues to fix right now. They don't really have a monster leading scorer. They are not very good defensively. Their rebounding numbers are a little bit subpar, and their offensive numbers, I mean, they're 273rd in the nation in total offense. So not great here. They're going on the road in this one too to take on Xavier. The Musketeers, they're 8-3 on the season. They played a reasonable schedule. They did get blown out by Iowa, played a 1-point game against Georgia that could have gone either way. Got the win there against West Virginia. They beat Cincinnati, and they're coming off a pretty comfortable blowout when they're over lowly Missouri State. So a lot of things going right for the Musketeers. That win over Cincinnati looks pretty decent. In their game against Missouri State, they shot the ball really well from long range, 12 of 30 from 3. That's 40% from deep. They did struggle at the free throw line a little bit, though, making only 7 of their 12 free throws. They kept things even on the boards, which against a team like Missouri State isn't that impressive, but they had 4 guys scoring double figures, the 4 starters scoring double figures. Not a bad look at all. And Xavier, over the course of the season, Trey Carroll putting up 17 points per game, shooting 48% from the field is excellent. The rebounding isn't great, but the defense is okay. The offense is looking good. I'm liking a lot of what I'm seeing from Xavier. They are playing this game at home. They are 2.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 149.5. Creighton, they're 3-7 against the spread this year. They are 9-1 to the under. Xavier, they're 5-6 against the spread. They are 6-5 to the over. I do think this is a spot we could definitely look at under 149.5. I don't think we're going to see all that much scoring in this game unless there's big outlier shooting nights from both of these teams, which isn't impossible, but I do lean towards the under here. In terms of a side, I really like Xavier here playing at home. Creighton, clearly just not a very good team at all. They haven't even played, they played some good teams this year, don't get me wrong, but they have not played well in those games. Xavier's not a team that's on the level of somebody like Iowa State or maybe Nebraska, but I do think they're good enough to get the win and cover here playing at home. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Vanderbilt Commodores, the number 13 Vanderbilt Commodores, going on the road to take on the Memphis Tigers. Vanderbilt, they're a perfect 10-0 to start the year. Now, when you see that, you always got to look back and see who they have actually played. Have they beaten any good teams? Well, it hasn't been a crazy schedule, but they do have wins over VCU, St. Mary's, SMU, taking down Central Arkansas by 11 their last time out. I'm not going to get too jazzed up about that, but they played some decent teams. They won a crazy barn burner of a game over at UCF early in the season, so they've got some good wins under their belts. Duke Miles putting up good numbers, 17 points per game, 50% from the field. This team is technically 5th in the nation in points per game, which is pretty wild, especially when you look at the fact they haven't played a single non-Division I opponent. So they can score it. The rebounding numbers look good. The defensive numbers look very, very acceptable. Overall, there's a lot to feel good about right now for Vanderbilt. In that win over, we're not going to look at what they did against Central Arkansas, but in that win over St. Mary's, a pretty reasonable team. They played great. They shot 42% from 3. They made their free throws. They did a good job on the boards, having a little bit of an edge there on the glass. So a lot of positives right now for Vanderbilt. They're about to be a little bit tested here, though. They're going on the road to take on the Memphis Tigers. Now, Memphis, they're only 4-5 on the season, not having a great time. They're coming off a 99-73 blowout loss at the hands of Louisville, so they haven't really been on the top level this season. Their best win is probably taking down Baylor. They lost to Purdue by 9, so that was a very competitive game. Give them credit there. They lost by 1 against Wake Forest. They lost by 6 against Ole Miss and lost pretty handily against UNLV. So this has not been an elite level team. Doug McDaniel leads the way with 14 points and 6 assists per game, shooting under 40% from the field. This squad is not great on the boards. They're pretty bad defensively, and their offensive numbers overall just do not inspire a whole lot of confidence. They are playing at home in this game. They're getting 7.5 points. We've got a total of 159.5. Vanderbilt's 6-4 against the spread. They're also 6-4 to the under. Memphis, and I'm not even 1,000% sure this is right, although if this is wrong, my software is crazy off. Apparently they're 7-2 against the spread this season. I'm not even 100% sure if that's right, though. They're 5-4 to the under. Guys, I'm going to be leaning a bit towards Vanderbilt in this game. Memphis just has not been on the same level as the other teams. Obviously, playing on the road can be a little bit tough, but I think the Commodores are going to be fine in this one. I think they had a comfortable win and cover here by probably double digits, going against a Memphis team that doesn't really inspire much optimism. Hey guys, hopping here with a quick shout out to the sponsor today and every day's video, and that is StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to get over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. And right now is a fantastic time to hop on board. We are running red hot, especially on the NHL side. NHL going 6-0 there yesterday, and our team of experienced, heavily experienced cappers cover all the major sports, guys. Right now, premium members are getting daily NBA, NHL, UFC, NFL, college football, and college basketball picks. We are on a 6-1 run on the college basketball side. We're on a 6-0 run on the NHL side. There has seldom been a better time to get in the mix over there as a premium member at StumpTheSpread.com. Tons of work goes into those premium picks every single day. You definitely want to make sure you're getting in on that. A lot of units being made over there on the premium side over the last few days. Also, you got to get over to StumpTheSpread.com and get in on all the free stuff we offer over there. There's free picks every single day under the free picks tab. There's our free to use bet size calculator, and you definitely want to make sure you're getting on that free email newsletter, guys. It's a fantastic resource. Every single day you'll get one email straight to your inbox with at least one free pick and oftentimes 2 or 3 free picks. Information on niche sports betting like golf, NASCAR, tennis, WNBA was a big one. UFC is a big one. Just tons and tons of great information coming out in that email every single day. Parlays are included in there. Tons of NFL touchdown props go out every single week, and we cashed a bunch of them yesterday. Those have been on the screen here for the last couple seconds, but you certainly want to make sure you're getting on that email list, and it's really easy to sign up. All you got to do is go to StumpTheSpread.com, either by clicking the link in the description or by typing StumpTheSpread.com into your browser of choice. You click that little green login button at the top right-hand corner. That's going to prompt you to set up a free account. All they're going to ask you for is your name and your email address. That's it. You get one email straight to your inbox every single day. So definitely make sure you're taking advantage of that. In terms of our results on the premium side there yesterday, they were very good. You can see them up on screen right now. Big winning day there on NHL, cashing the Oilers as at -1.5 even as a 1-unit play. Also the Oilers on the money line, and the Blue Jackets is a half-unit play. They came through. The Wild one is a 1-unit play. The Bruins a 2-unit play. The Red Wings a 1-unit play as well. We also have Jacksonville State going over there on the college football side, and they're in really good shape in their game. That would be a nice 2-unit play to bring home. The Spurs do let us down. We talked about that already. That was pretty tilting, but Oral Roberts getting 5.5. That was good as gold. Bowling Green -20. That was a good one as well. Louisville obviously letting us down, but a monster winning day. Stringing together a few good days over there on the premium side. Definitely a great time to hop on board. Also, if you're a huge fan of what you're seeing from us here every single day, you can click that little join button right below the video to sign up for a YouTube channel membership. YouTube channel members get early access to all of our videos, get their name up on screen in every single video, but maybe most importantly, get access to our members-only giveaways. We give away a Stump the Spread hoodie here every single Monday to one random YouTube channel member. We'll be doing another giveaway here, this coming Monday. It's a great way to support the channel by becoming a YouTube channel member, and also love doing those giveaways. The more members we get, the more giveaways we're going to do. I'd love to be doing 2 or 3 giveaways a week. That would be amazing. But the way we do those giveaways, every YouTube channel member's name goes on a big wheel. We spin that wheel live on the video. Whoever it lands on gets that Stomp the Spread hoodie. So let's go ahead and dive back in, guys. We still have a ton of games to cover out there. And next on the docket, we've got the Citadel Bulldogs going on the road to take on the Charleston Cougars. Now, the Citadel, they're not looking great. I'll be super honest. They are 3-8 on the season. Their wins came against North Greenville and then against some non-Division I opponents. Their last time out, they lost 71-55 against South Carolina. This team has been, to be completely honest, one of the worst teams in college basketball this year. It's been very bleak. They're 346th in the nation in points per game. Their leading scorer, Braxton Williams, is putting up 10.5 points per game, shooting 37% from the field. Their defensive numbers are bad. Their rebounding numbers are bad. It's just all been really bad here for the Citadel. They're going to try and get back on track here. They're going on the road to take on Charleston. Now, the Charleston Cougars, they're 5-6 on the year. They've played a little bit tougher of a schedule, although they haven't looked great. Let's be 100% here. I mean, they lost against South Florida in a close game, but other than that, not a lot of success. I mean, they beat UMass, I guess, but It's been pretty bleak. Their last time out was a 74-67 win over Charlotte. So, okay, cool, you beat Charlotte. Charlotte's 4-7 on the season. In that game, the Cougars shot 30% from three, made only 10 out of their 16 free throws, kept things even on the boards against a pretty terrible opponent. They did shoot 50% from the field, and they did have a couple double-digit scores there coming off the bench, in addition to 2 double-digit scores in the starting lineup. So maybe a little bit of a step in the right direction, but overall, it's been pretty bleak this year for Charleston. I mean, they're around 300th in the nation in total offense. Their defensive numbers aren't good either. So looking at the numbers for this game, they're 15.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 145.5. Citadel, they're 2-6 against the spread. They're 5-3 to the under. Charleston, they are 5-5 against the spread and 6-4 to the under. With how bad these two teams are, I do think under 145.5 is in play, but better than that, I'll take Charleston here minus 15. The Citadel is just that bad this year, guys. It's really, really just like off the hook how bad they are. It's crazy. They're bad. They're really, really bad. I think Charleston wins this game by 20. This one, though, not going anywhere near the pinned comment. I cannot trust either one of these teams. Cruising through these games, we're looking at the Mercer Bears as they go on the road to take on the UCF Knights. Mercer, they're 7-3 on the season. They are coming off of a loss, but it was a very competitive 70-63 loss there against Clemson. In a game, Mercer really hung around. They could have actually won that game. They don't have any other big successes in huge step-up spots, although they did keep it within 15 there against Tennessee to start their season. So definitely some positives. I mean, Baraka Koji, 18 points and 6 assists per game. That dude is a monster. He will not be playing in Mercer next season, I'll tell you that. They're 104th in the nation in points per game. That's not awful. Their rebounding numbers are okay. Their defensive numbers aren't great, but they just played some very, very good defense there against Clemson. In that game, they shot only 6 of 22 from 3. If they shoot the ball a little bit better from distance, they could have potentially won this game because I guess maybe I take that back a little bit. They did get out rebounded by 10. That's not a great look. So definitely work to be done, but Okoji could potentially is going to be one of the better players on the floor in this game as they head to UCF to take on the Knights. The UCF, they've had a pretty decent year, albeit not against the toughest competition. They lost against Vanderbilt early in the season, but recently they've been reeling off wins, but a 5-point win a blowout win over Townsend, a win over VMI, a close win over Quinnipiac, a semi-competitive win against Pitt, who is terrible this year. I'm not in love with what I'm seeing from the Knights so far this season. I mean, their offensive numbers look great, their rebounding numbers look good, but their defense is not amazing. That's definitely something that's a little bit of a concern to me in this spot. So in general, looking at the numbers, guys, UCF, they're 14.5 points here, favorites here at home. We've got a total of 163.5. Mercer's 7-1 against the spread this year. They're a 500 over/under team. UCF, they are 4-5 against the spread. They're also 5-4 to the under. Also, something to take a little bit into consideration. Maybe this isn't an actual look-ahead spot, but UCF has a couple kind of interesting in-state games coming up. So maybe it could be a tiny look-ahead spot, but regardless, I like Mercer getting all those points in this game. This has the potential to maybe be a dog of the day because this is a lot of points for a very good Bears team to be getting. They're going to have a guy that can compete as one of the better players on the floor in this matchup, and I think they can, while maybe not keep things even on the boards against a team like UCF, I think they can be very, very competitive offensively. So I think we're looking at a real game in this one, and if that's the case, give me the big underdog. Next on the docket, we've got the Seattle Saints going on the road to taking the Vermont Catamounts. Now, Siena, they come into this game winners of, what is it up to now, 7 in a row. They just took down Canisius 74-52 in their last game. All that being said, they have not played a tough schedule. Their 2 losses this year came against Colgate and St. Bonaventure, and I mean, it's been pretty easy sailing. Siena's 2-0 in MAAC play, so good for them. However, they have not really been tested too much. They are 353rd in the nation in points per game. Their defensive numbers look great. The pace they play at isn't incredible, but I mean, they've put up some really good defensive performances. I mean, they gave up only 52 points in a conference game their last time out. That is certainly respectable. They shot the ball pretty well from 3, knocking down 11 out of 33 from distance. The free throw numbers are a bit concerning. 11 of 18 is not a great day at the charity stripe, but their assist numbers are very, very good. And over the course of the season, this squad has looked decent. Gavin Dottie leading the way, 15 points per game. I think the Siena Bulldogs might actually be decent. Now, they're going to be tested a little bit here as they go on the road to take on Vermont. The Catamounts are 7-5 on the season. They're coming off a win over Merrimack, a 7-point win there over Merrimack. So well played there. Vermont, it'll be interesting to see what they can do out there in the American East this season. They got a win over Princeton, but they lost to Yale and Oregon State. They beat Pepperdine so that's not a terrible win. They played a very close one against Buffalo. They beat Brown. It hasn't been a crazy tough schedule this year for the Catamounts, obviously. So we'll see what they can do in this one. They are playing at home. Their season-long numbers, I mean, defensively, they're not great, and the rebounding is a concern. Gus Yalden leading the way with 16 points per game, shooting 57% from the field is great. We'll see if that translates into success here. They are 1.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 136.5. Siena's 7-4 against the spread this year. They're 8-3 to the under. Vermont, they are 5-6 against the spread. They are 6-5 to the over. I'm actually going to back Siena in this one in a small way. This will be a small lean, but I do think the Bulldogs have what it takes to come away with a straight-up win in this game. And getting 1.5 is a nice little tiny bonus if it comes down to the narrowest of margins. But I think the Bulldogs, they are the slightly better team here. I think they could have an advantage on the boards, and they've been shooting the ball great, so maybe they can go into Vermont and get a win. Next up, we're looking at Alabama State. The Alabama State Hornets going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. Now, Alabama State, they're only 3-7 on the year, but they've done some interesting stuff. They knocked off UAB this season. Other than that, not a lot of success. They lost to Air Force. That's not a great look. Their last time out, they took a 85-77 loss against Missouri, but that was a very comfortable cover there for Alabama State. They actually outscored Mizzou in the second half, outscoring them 38-33. So there's some positives to look at here for the Hornets. They shot 50% from 3 in that game. They got destroyed on the boards. Maybe not destroyed, but definitely lost the battle of the boards a little bit. Didn't play the best defense, giving up 85 points, but Anderson putting up 23 for them, a couple double-digit scores coming off the bench. Maybe this Hornets team has what it takes to make a little bit of noise out there in the SWAC. We'll see. They're not going to be playing a conference opponent in this one. They're going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats, who at 6-4 in the season, maybe a little bit nervous, with Big 12 play approaching. They're coming off back-to-back losses, losing by 4 points against Xavier and losing by 19 against Georgia. Not a great look there. Their best win this season probably is taking down Dayton early in the year. They played a good game against Louisville, but it's been a tough road so far. And I mean, in that blowout loss against Georgia, definitely a game they would have been hoping would be a little bit more competitive. They shot only 7 of 27 from 3, only making 12 out of their 21 free throws. They were at a deficit on the boards, and despite Georgia shooting only 4 of 21 from 3, they lost this game handily. So concerning stuff there from Cincinnati. We'll see what they can do in this one. This is definitely a step-down game. Their defensive numbers and their rebounding should help them dominate, but they are 21.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 143.5 here. This is a look-ahead spot also for Cincinnati because they have Clemson on deck, a much bigger opponent here coming up. So it's a little bit worrisome. Alabama State 5-4 against the spread, 5-4 to the under. Cincinnati 2-8 against the spread this year. So we're going to be leaning towards Alabama State here, getting 21.5 points. Maybe this is a little bit of a big ask, but another decent shooting night there from Alabama could make this a real game down the stretch where they could be, down 10 or something like that. And 21.5 is an awful lot of points, so I'll definitely take the underdog here. Next on the docket, we've got the Oakland Golden Grizzlies going on the road to taking the Northern Kentucky Norse. Oakland, they're 5-6 on the season. They're coming off a tough loss there against Northern Iowa, but they've been playing well. They got a 1-point win over Toledo. They took down Montana. They took down Lamar. They beat Defiance earlier this year. Didn't know Defiance was a real college basketball team. They've played a hell of a schedule. They've played Michigan, Purdue, and Houston already. So, about as tough of opponents as they could possibly play. And after this game against the Norse, they're going to take on number 9 Michigan State. So this team has played the best of the best. Brody Robinson's looking great. 16.5 points per game, 6 assists as well, and he's shooting 45% from the field. This team is averaging 84 points per game. That's very reasonable. The rebounding defensive numbers don't look great, and against Northern Iowa, they didn't exactly do a great job of defending the perimeter, allowing Northern Iowa to make 7 threes. But they did a good job on the boards, holding things even there. So a lot to like about Oakland right now as they go on the road to take on Northern Kentucky. The Norse are 9-3 on the season. They've also played, just maybe only one big-name team. They lost to Tennessee by like 40, so that wasn't a great look. But they beat Central Michigan. They've beaten Wofford. They beat Boston University. They beat Cleveland State. They lost to Purdue Fort Worth, though. That's not a great look. Their last time out was an 80-76 win over Bellarmine. Okay, cool, but Bellarmine's only 4-6 on the year and not looking great. So in that game, Northern Kentucky did some positive stuff. I mean, 80 points in a game isn't terrible, but I'm not really in love with what I've seen in terms of their strength of schedule this year. Their rebounding numbers are pretty bad. Their offensive numbers look good, but they're pumped up in a big way by the fact they've played 3 non-Division I opponents, and they've scored 126, 101, and 92 in those games. So not exactly world beaters here. So look at the numbers. The Norse are 1.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 165. Oakland's a 500 against the spread team. They are 8-2 this year to the over. Northern Kentucky, they are 5-4 against the spread. They are 6-3 to the over. 165 is a lot of points, but I am leaning towards the over in this game with those trends pointing so hard in that direction. I also think this is a good spot to back Oakland. I think the Golden Grizzlies are going to put up a very good game in this one. Despite the fact they're playing on the road, I think they can get in there and get after it against Northern Kentucky, a team that I think is being overvalued just based on their record and not based on them actually having done much this year. Rolling right along, we've got the Cleveland State Vikings going on the road to take on the UAB Blazers. Cleveland State, they're 4-8 on the season, so it's been a little bit rough. They're coming off, well, they lost 3 in a row before a win over a non-Division I opponent, losing to Mizzou in a blowout, to Northern Kentucky by 15, and then losing to Detroit Mercy there by 12. So it's been a little bit rough. They've beaten Waynesburg, Radford, and Capital this season. It's been bad. It's been really, really bad, especially in step-up situations. Cleveland State has not done a good job. Their rebounding numbers are bad, but their defensive numbers are even worse. And against Detroit Mercy, not exactly world beaters out there at the hospital, they shot 9 of 30 from 3, made 14 out of their 20 free throws, dominated the boards, and found a way to lose this game convincingly. So going on the road to take on UAB probably isn't going to feel great. The Blazers are 7-4 this season. They're coming off a crazy 1-point loss there against Troy where they were victimized by a game winner. So yeah, that has to feel pretty brutal. They were coming off a win over Drake. They've beaten UTEP this season, beat Southern Illinois. They did lose to NC State pretty handily, but this team has shown some real promise at different points this season. In that loss against Troy, I mean, that's a heartbreaker for sure. They let Troy shoot 50% from 3. They shot 40% from 3, though, and did a good job on the boards. Their assist numbers looked good. Their turnover numbers were not terrible. So there's a lot to like about UAB coming into this game. Over the course of the season, they're in the top 100 nationally in total offense. Their rebounding numbers are elite, and they do play at a bit of an up pace, which is a really nice thing here when you're massive favorites. They're 17.5-point favorites at home. Total of 161.5 here. Cleveland State, they are 4-5 against the spread and 6-3 to the over. UAB 6-4 against the spread and 6-4 to the under. I'm not interested in the total for this game, but I do think UAB will win this one in a blowout. There's no sort of look-ahead spot there for UAB. They've got UNC Asheville on deck, so we're not worried about that. I think the Blazers get an absolute blowout winning cover here against a terrible Cleveland State squad. In another one of our better games out here on Wednesday, we've got the South Florida Bulls going on the road to take on the number 16 Alabama Crimson Tide. South Florida's 6-4 on the season. They're winners of 2 in a row, taking down Utah State and Charleston. They did lose to Colorado State, but beat Western Kentucky. They lost to Oklahoma State, so there have definitely been some problems here, and we'll see what they actually look like out in the American this year, but right now, they're playing some of their best ball this season, definitely, and that's a good time for it, too, if you're about to take on one of the better teams in the nation. Over the course of the year, the Bulls are 30th in total offense, putting up 88.6 points per game. They play a little bit of an up-tempo, so the rebounding numbers and the defensive numbers look kind of what you think. Lots of rebounds, not so much defense. In that win over Charleston, though, a lot of positives for sure. They didn't shoot the ball great, but they did a good job on the boards. They did a good job taking care of the ball, and we did see, Joseph Pinion putting up 21 points in 35 minutes, and Beckford putting up 17 points off the bench. All very, very good signs here. So we'll see what the Bulls can do. They're going on the road here to take on a very good Alabama team that is coming off a loss, albeit a loss to number 1 Arizona. We were on Arizona in that one as a premium pick, so not too disappointed to see Arizona come away with the win there. Alabama, they've played absolutely insane schedule. They beat St. John's, lost to Purdue, beat Illinois, lost to Gonzaga, beat UNLV, Maryland, and Clemson, and UTSA, and then lost to Arizona. So a lot of good stuff for Alabama. This team loaded with talent. They're top 10 in the nation in basically every major category. The defensive numbers maybe don't look insane. And against Arizona, they definitely struggled. But Arizona is so good, guys. So crazy good. Despite that, Alabama shot like 40% from 3. They got crushed on the boards, though. Something that I don't really think is going to happen here against South Florida. Although South Florida's been a very good rebounding team, so maybe that's a bit of concern. Alabama, they're 14.5-point favorites in this game. That's a lot of points. We got a total of 181.5, which is pretty nuts. Not a major look-ahead spot really for either team, so you don't have to worry about that. USF, they're 4-6 against the spread. They're 5-5 to the over-under. Alabama, 4-5 against the spread, 5-4 to the under. I'm going to lean just slightly towards under just because this is such a bonkers number, but I do like Alabama to really take care of business here in a step down game. They haven't had many of these this season, but when they have really, really taken advantage. I think the Crimson Tide are going to win this one in an absolute blowout, especially here playing at home. This team doesn't get very many chances to just show off against bad teams. Well, this is one of them, and I think this is going to be a bloodbath. I'd take Alabama here at anything under 20 points very, very comfortably. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Georgetown Hoyas going on the road to take the Marquette Golden Eagles. Now, Georgetown, they're 7-3 on the season. They're coming off a win over St. Peter's, but they got blown out by 20 against North Carolina. They lost pretty handily against Miami, lost to Dayton. They did beat Clemson and Maryland, so they've had some success this year, but it has not been all smooth sailing this season for the Hoyas. I'm sure they love what they've gotten from KJ Lewis so far this year, but their rebounding numbers are pretty atrocious, and their defense has not been up to their normal standard. Now, against St. Peter's, not a great St. Peter's team, it did take them overtime to get that win, and that was despite, neither team really shot the ball well from three at all. We did see Georgetown get the benefit of a lot of whistles. They, I guess, in the end, only shoot 7 more free throws, but they also out-rebounded St. Peter's by, 12? So, yeah, I think it's a bit of a big ask for them to repeat something like that here on the road against Marquette, but we'll see. The Golden Eagles are 5-6 on the year. They're coming off a blowout loss at the hands of Purdue. They lost in blowout to Wisconsin. Before that, they got blown out by Oklahoma. Really just a team that hasn't had any success against step-up competition at all. Step down competition, they've been okay. Step up, or what I would have thought would be like level competition, has been really, really rough. Chase Ross is putting up good numbers, 18.5 points per game, 48% from the field. That's good, but the rebounding and defensive numbers for this team have not been great, and a lot of those have come against pretty bad teams. So I am certainly concerned here. Despite all that, they're 3.5 point favorites at home. We've got a total of 148.5. Georgetown, they are 1-8 against the spread this year. Crazy. They are 6-3 to the over. Marquette 2-8-1 against the spread this year. They are 6-5 to the over. So if you want to take over, I actually do think over 148.5 is a very valuable play in this game. But better than that, I'll just take Georgetown getting 3.5 points. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I'm not sure which team is going to win this Big East showdown. I think going with the underdog here, despite the fact they're playing on the road in a conference game, is the way you want to be. Heading into our last 2 college basketball games before we hop over and look at that NBA slate, we've got the Arkansas State Red Wolves going on the road to take on the Texas State Bobcats. Now, Arkansas State, they're 7-4 on the season. They're coming off a tough 1-point loss there against Rice. That loss snapped a 4-game winning streak, though. They were doing some good stuff, albeit not against really step-up competition, but we'll see, and we'll really see what this Red Wolves team can do when it comes to Sun Belt play. But in that loss against Rice, I mean, obviously it's a 1-point game, so the breaks of the game can kind of determine things. But the problem was they shot 22% from 3, 4 of 18 from long range. It's not going to get you a lot of wins. They did win the battle of the boards, but didn't do a good job defending the 3-point line. So we'll see if they can bounce back from that a little bit. I do think this team is decent, although they are very much an offense by committee kind of squad, and the defensive numbers worry me a little bit. They're going on the road to take on the Texas State Bobcats, who at 7-5 on the season have been okay. We'll see what they can do in the Sun Belt this year. They're coming off a win over Southern, a 3-point win, so it was very, very close. They lost to Rice in a close one, lost to Lehigh, lost to Seattle U. They've beaten teams like Texas Lutheran, Little Rock, Abilene Christian, Texas Southern. They beat UTSA. They lost to Tulane, though, so it's been a lot of up and down stuff there for Texas State. They come into this game currently 274th in the nation in points per game. Their defensive numbers do look okay, so we'll see what they can make out of that, but it's been a little bit rough this year overall, and that's part of why they're getting 2.5 points here at home, a total of 149.5 in this game. Arkansas State, they are 7-3 against the spread this year. They are 5-5 to the over-under. Texas State, 5-5 against the spread and 5-5 to the over-under. I'll go with the road team. Despite this being a conference game, give me Arkansas State on the road to get the win and cover. They only got to win by 3. That's not too big of an ask. This team's in a bounce-back spot after a bit of a heartbreaker against Rice. I think they win this game handily. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Arizona State Sun Devils going on the road to take on the UCLA Bruins. Now, Arizona State, they're 9-2 on the season, and they've played some decent teams and come up with some decent wins. They did lose against Gonzaga early in the year, but they kept that very competitive. They took down Texas in a crazy 1-point thriller. They knocked off Washington State by 6, a 194 barn burner of a game. They did lose to USC, but they bounced back and beat Oklahoma by 16. That wasn't even that close. And their last time out was an 82-79 win over Santa Clara. So a lot of good news right now for Arizona State. They've been playing great. They're coming off a game. They shot 48% from 3. They did a good job on the boards, keeping things even there. Knocked down an okay amount of their free throws, nothing too special, but 4 double-digit scores there in the starting lineup looks very, very good. Over the course of the season, 80 points per game. I'm not mad at that. Maurice Odom might be the best player on the floor in this one. 16.5 points per game and 6 assists. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration. We'll see what they can do here on the road against UCLA. Rebounding is a concern for Arizona State. The Bruins, well, they were previously ranked in the top 25. They've fallen all the way out of that, though, with losses to Arizona, Cal, and Gonzaga. Not exactly terrible losses, I will say that. The Bruins have done a lot of good stuff this year. Their numbers don't look that cartoonish because of their pace of play, but they stuck with Gonzaga. They were only down by 5 there at halftime. They put up some good numbers overall. They shot 47% from 3, albeit on very limited attempts. They got kind of crushed on the boards there. And that's going to happen to a lot of teams going up against Gonzaga. We'll see if the Bruins can crush the Sun Devils on the boards. They are 9.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of only 146.5. Arizona State, they are 8-2-1 against the spread. They are 6-5 to the under. UCLA is 4-6 against the spread and a 500 over-under team. Guys, I'm going to take Arizona State getting almost 10 points here, despite the fact they're playing on the road. This could potentially be a dog of the day. I know UCLA playing at home can be tough, and they've played some good games against some pretty elite opponents, but I think their style of play allows them to stay pretty close to some teams they maybe shouldn't stay that close to, and I think Arizona State can give UCLA pretty much all they can handle in this one. Whether they have a chance to win this one straight up or not, I'm not sure, but I do think they keep it within 9.5. Now, guys, hopping over to look at an only 2-game NBA slate here on Wednesday. Kind of getting gypped a little bit here. We've got the Cleveland Cavaliers going on the road to take on the Chicago Bulls. Now, the Cavaliers at 15-12 on the season have not exactly had the year that many were projecting for them. They're coming off a 119-111 loss to the Charlotte Hornets. The game before that, they beat the Wizards, albeit in a very close game. Game before that, they won by 5 against the very short-handed Warriors. So it has not been easy goings here. We'll see if this team can figure things out down the stretch. But in that loss against the Hornets, Garland led the way with 26 points. I don't know if that's really what you want. Donovan Mitchell, a terrible shooting night. He was only 1 of 11 from 3, so maybe a little bit of an aberration there. Not a great game, and it did take overtime for them to lose, but lose they did. They scored 0 points in overtime. It was absolutely wild. The bench is actually looking okay. Jalen Tyson, 16 points off the bench. Not bad. Thomas Bryant, 10 points off the bench. The numbers don't really look that awful. They did get out-rebounded in this game, but yeah, a pretty disturbing loss if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. And they come into this game looking, not super banged up, but a little bit injured. We do see Evan Mobley and Sam Merrill both on the injury report. Mobley, that grade 1 calf strain, God knows when he's going to be back. He's going to be out for a while. So that is a problem. Sam Merrill still dealing with this right hand issue. He is not going to be back for this game. So going to be shorthanded as they head to Chicago to take on the Bulls. Chicago, after a hot start, they're down to 10-15 on the year. They're coming off a 10-point loss there against the Pelicans. That's not a great look. They have dealt with a lot of injuries this season, don't get me wrong, so I don't want to cast too many aspersions, but it has not been great. Buzelis only had 9 points in his 24 minutes in that loss to the Pelicans. Kobe White, 20 points, 1 of 10 from 3, though, not great. Giddey really took a big backseat in that game and only played 24 minutes. It was just a rough game out there from the Bulls. They did not look great in that one. They shot 27% from 3, got dominated on the board. So a lot to not feel so good about in that one. And they come into this game, they're getting a little bit healthy. Dosunmu still on the injury report, but other than that, nobody that really makes me too worried for them to be missing. And Dosunmu, he is technically questionable. He might end up even playing in this game. So we'll see what happens. The Bulls are getting 5.5 points at home. We've got a total of 242.5. Cleveland's 4-7 against the spread on the road, 8-3 to the over on the road. The Bulls are 6-6 against the spread at home, 8-4 to the under at home. I'm going to take the Cavaliers here in a bounce back. I'm not liking anything I'm seeing from Chicago right now. Not that I'm loving anything I'm seeing from the Cavaliers. This probably won't make the pinned comment, although I'd be lying if I said I didn't have something of a chance here on kind of a thin night. I do think Cleveland in a bounce back spot should be able to get the job done. We're not going to see Donovan Mitchell have another terrible performance like that, and the Bulls don't really have the personnel to defend on the perimeter, so that should lead to Cleveland having a pretty good time. Last but not least here, guys, and I know lame, we only have 2 NBA games on an entire day. We've got the Memphis Grizzlies heading to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. Now, the Grizzlies, they're up to 12-14 on the season, so not too bad. They're coming off a 18-point win there over the Clippers. Cam Spencer and Jaren Jackson Jr. taking over in this game. A pretty monster, pretty insane performance there for both of them, honestly. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been MIA most of the season. He pops off for 31 points, 4 of 5 from 3. a very, very good and desperately needed good night from him. We loved what we saw from, well, I'm not going to say we loved what we saw from Ja. He was okay. 21 minutes, 12 points. Not great shooting, but 4 assists and only 1 turnover. But really, it was nuts to see Cam Spencer just going crazy off the bench. He went 7 out of 10 from 3, had 27 points, and was a plus 29. That Memphis bench absolutely destroyed the Clippers. It was crazy, crazy stuff to see. They played amazing. We'll see if they can keep it rolling. They're up to 12-14 on the season, so a lot of good news there for Memphis, despite the injury to Zach Edey, which we thought might be a big problem. A big concern for them in this game, though, is the health of Cam Spencer. Dealing with some sort of personal issue, he's been ruled out for this game. I'm not sure what's going on with that. That is not great to see him out for that one. I guess we're going to see more Vince Williams Jr. minutes, perhaps, more KCP minutes. Ja is also on the injury report. He's dealing with an ankle issue. He's questionable for this game. So we'll see what they can do heading into Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves, who had 17-9 on the season. Playing a little bit better here down the stretch. They've won, what is it up to now? 7 of their last 8 or something like that. Have had a bit of an easy schedule. They're fresh off a 117-103 win over the Sacramento Kings. So they'll definitely take that. But the Kings, pretty terrible. Randall played well in that win. We didn't see Anthony Edwards even suit up in that game, so well played by the Timberwolves to take care of business against a bad team, albeit without your best player. Bones Highland getting some real minutes and making the most out of him. He was a plus 10. We saw from Jade McDaniels in that game. Naz Reid had a 20-piece off the bench. Dante DiVincenzo shot the ball relatively well, and they dominated the board. So very good news there for the Timberwolves. It appears that Anthony Edwards' availability is still up in the air for this one. Dealing with the foot issue, he's officially questionable. So we'll have to wait a little bit close to game time before we know if he's going to play in this game or not. I do think that makes a pretty big difference. But other than that, they're healthy and ready to go. So looking at the numbers, the Timberwolves are 7.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 233.5. Memphis, they're 6-7 against the spread on the road. They're 9-4 to the under on the road. Minnesota, 5-8 against the spread at home and 8-5 to the under at home. This is a bit of a tough spot. Given these trends, you could lean a bit towards under 233.5. I don't have too big of a problem with that. I think that's reasonable. In terms of a side, I am going to take the Timberwolves here at home at -7.5. I don't necessarily love it, but I do think there's some value here, especially if Anthony Edwards comes back in place. This is probably going to go up to like 9 points or something like that. And I do honestly think missing Cam Spencer really messes up the bench situation there for the Grizzlies. And if Ja doesn't play as well, the point guard position is going to be in a weird situation. So I think that's enough reason here for us to fade the Memphis Grizzlies. Guys, that's all the games we have here for today. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. I'm more than happy to get back to you. I appreciate everybody watching these videos. Make sure you're clicking the link in the description to get over to stumpthespread.com, get on that free email list, check out the free picks that are posted over there every single day, and definitely make sure you're getting in on those premium picks, guys. A crazy amount of work, a crazy amount of analytics go into every single one of those premium plays. So definitely don't want to miss out on those. And guys, we'll see you right back here tomorrow, same time, same place, for more sports betting action.